Check, check. There we go. 3, 2, 1, go. I think there's actually like a 5-second delay on that.
Is that?
I don't know.
Just a courtesy?
I don't know. So that's why I've been doing the countdown lately to see so how it lines up with the actual digits on there. So I guess I don't know. I'm just curious.
Stop looking at me like I'm stupid.
Like you were looking at me like I was stupid. That's like don't get too concerned about that, okay, man? I won't. I'm Pat.
I'm Jeffrey.
This is Coffee Before Bed.
Yeah.
Minus Weekend Will.
Yeah, he's absent.
Weekend Will is absent.
Mm-hmm. The school already called his mother.
Oh, yeah, he's in trouble.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Will's got detention.
Right, he's going to get demerits at home and detention at school, yeah.
Will's grounded.
Grounded.
Parents took his Nintendo away.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's not fair. He might be listening.
He might be. He should know his Nintendo is at risk.
He is not listening. Nobody is listening.
It's all right.
It's all right. We'll wait for you, buddy. So
yes, normally you pose a question to me.
oh, yeah. So what is Coffee Before Bed, Jeffrey? Do you have a good answer for this today?
Yeah, it's evidently a program where Jeffrey is too stupid to understand how the YouTube button works,
I didn't say that.
and Pat berates him for it.
Rewind the tape, bitch.
Listen, if you want me to go upstairs, okay, and get my college degree out of the OPC folder that I put it in, all right, I will show you that I'm smart.
I'm smart, too.
I'm smart.
Yeah. I know you're smart. God, he's sensitive, though, that's for sure.
I didn't get enough sleep today, man. It's I'm grumpy. I slept in chunks. I had tons of appointments and work to do and students and all that.
On Saturday? Oh, today's Friday.
Yeah.
Gee, I'm off by a day.
Oh, don't worry about it. It doesn't really matter. Well, it does, because then I won't get my brother from the airport. So...
Oh, is he flying tomorrow?
No, well, he comes back on Sunday.
Oh, okay.
So it is imperative that I know which day it is.
I'd set your alarm just in case.
Oh, trust me, I'll be okay.
Okay,
It's
all right.
fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Wait a minute, which airport are you going to? This one or the big one?
The COS. I'm not.
Not the DIA.
Nope.
Okay. Good call. Much easier.
It wasn't mine.
Yeah.
It was my brother's call.
Oh.
So
You had no influence on that?
well, I suppose the compromise would have been like, all right, well, if you must fly into DIA, we'll do it halvesies.
Okay.
Take a cab to Castle Rock, and I will come get you from there.
Right, yeah.
Is
Get off
that-
at Wolfensberger Road.
Is that the halfway point?
Yeah, I'll see you at the McDonald's. That's where everybody knows. In Castle Rock, the McDonald's there. It's a good meat place.
You know what? I've been to that McDonald's.
Yeah,
You're
many
right.
times.
You're right.
Yeah.
A lot. You know, because the other thing around there, I think, is what the Robert A. Christensen Justice Center.
Yeah, you don't really want to meet people at the jail. So.
I just think it takes some special guts to call it the Justice Center.
The Justice Center, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess, man. So
It's like where they proctor the horse whippings, or I don't know. I
wonder if they called it that just because they decided to put it right next to the interstate there. So it'd be different if you called it like, Shawshank.
the House of Pain.
The House of Pain, yeah.
Yeah.
So, or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking Inland Rikers or whatever. I have
Right,
no idea.
yeah. Gitmo West.
Yeah. Hey, what is it? Landlocked Alcatraz.
Landlocked Alcatraz. I want to go there someday. I've never been there. Oh, see, your notifications are on too, man.
Well, because it's from friends and family.
Oh.
If you're part of the inner circle, then,
that's why mine punched through. Got it.
if you're send link.
Send link to what?
Well, Will in absentia asked me to.
Motherfucker hasn't subscribed to us then.
Right.
Links are for subscribers only.
What a total asshole.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, he can sit there and listen to it in his car, I guess, or...
I don't know if he's driving yet, but
Oh, yeah.
I presume so.
Yeah. But that's okay. What would we talk about? We don't have to talk about football, I guess. We can save that for him next week.
Is there football to be
I don't think there's really any football news to know about, but if there was anybody I'd ask if there was football news going on, it'd be Will. We have kicked off baseball season as of yesterday.
Oh, opening day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have no idea who's going to be good this year.
Nope.
Yep. Well, except for the Rays. Oh, man, that kid, he's just a problem. Eventually he's going to graduate and stop terrorizing the neighborhood. But for right now, he's definitely a problem.
Yeah, I don't know if I can get into baseball yet. I still
It usually takes me a month.
well, I've got to let my hockey boner go down and then I'll get into baseball.
Okay. Yeah, I usually give it about a month. So, but like in May, one of my teams will go on a tear in May. So that'll almost invariably suck me in. So one of them will start getting hot. You know?
There's a chance. I feel like there have been some years where I peeked in to baseball, within the first, first 30 days, first 30 games. And like upon that determination, I made it an absolutely premature judgment, but a judgment nonetheless, and said, oh man, the Red Sox suck this year. I'm out.
I'll be back in August.
If you are.
You are.
Yeah. Which isn't fair, but then again, you're asking me for you're really asking me for a hell of an investment to see if you actually flip this thing around. But, you know what? I will say this. I was quite dedicated to baseball season during rig time.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't miss a game.
Well, yeah, you're trapped.
I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is TVs. So.
Yes, but at that point, I had the baseball package, and I would watch every game.
Oh, yeah? What, on like your tablet or something?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
And I'm sure Will at this point knows what I'm talking about, on the worst Wi-Fi in human history, known as DrillCom 18.
DrillCom. So
at a blazing 0.8 megabytes per second download.
Oh, nice.
To be shared with the entire office.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you can't even record the games either, could you?
No.
Oh, no, I guess you could, because if you had the MLB app, did you actually...
You could you could do it that way. And it wasn't really recording because, it's still going to stream it either way. But,
that's true.
You could set it down to, like, 144p and...
Oh, wow.
Well, I guess you had your choice between...
Actually, it looks like Baseball All-Stars then.
Yeah, that's true. I was watching a lot of 8-bit baseball.
Woohoo.
Yeah.
The crowd noise all the same?
No, actually, this was one of the weird things, was in some of those locations, like, no joke, my data reception was going to be better than what the rig was getting.
Oh, on your phone?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Phone or tablet, depending on how I set it up.
Yeah. Oh, so you could just hotspot your phone then, huh?
I did. On several occasions.
Yeah. Excuse me, that makes sense. So...
Sometimes I had to when our Wi-Fi thing went down.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did you charge the company triple?
Right.
Yeah. It was $1,000 a minute, boys.
What do you think? This is an airline?
No. No,
it's like-
you guys were much better paid than anybody who slung luggage ever.
No, I'm talking about the whole scam of, well, I heard you guys canceled a flight to Salt Lake City. It's like, we can get your passengers to Salt Lake City.
Oh, yeah, where they rape each other over that stuff? Yeah. So, yeah, no, that's different, man. So,
We can get you guys there.
actually, I was really surprised. Southwest actually has Wi-Fi on their planes now, and it's free. Huh, yeah. Yeah, I know. I don't remember that being the case like 2 years ago, but it might have been. So last time I flew them, they're like, "Oh yes, you want to like link into this? Like you'll find this one." And the captain will tell you, "Is like we're out of range of blah blah blah." So we've got the Wi-Fi beacon turned on. Yeah. And sure as shit, you can get Wi-Fi on the plane now. They don't charge you for it, man. So. I mean, fucking United Airlines charge you to jack in your phone somewhere.
Oh,
you know?
dude, you know.
They're like, oh, we got these special, like, you know, like jacks that, you know, come from Soviet Russia. so we'll sell you the adapter for $100. You know, oh, and you have to give it back when you're done. You know, so. But mine's already open. That doesn't mean it's free. You know? So.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like a Las Vegas like vending machine. Like you look at all the ports and stuff, and they actually have like prices next to them with the label maker.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Kachunka. Yeah.
Oh my god! I'm surprised they actually don't like charge for like minutes.
They didn't. Yeah, I was surprised. So.
You know, where it's like. When you used to
if it
make
was-
a phone call.
Yeah,
you know?
well, fucking Frontier Airlines would rape you on anything that they could possibly get out of you. You know, it's like, oh, you want a pillow? That's $8.
That was
You know?
$8.
I don't know if it was $8. It was more than zero. So, yeah. So
Did you get to keep it?
no, it goes back in the plastic bag, and they send it off the laundry. Maybe, you know,
So you could rent a pillow.
and a blanket. You could rent a blanket.
You could rent a blanket.
Yes, you could rent a blanket. Yeah.
You knew the company. Were they instructed to make exceptions, like if they saw, boy, this person is really, like she's gonna die,
I don't think so, man.
or are they just, accept $8 in a photo ID?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, you can only pay for that with credit card because we don't carry cash. So,
They used to be exclusively cash. You remember those days?
Frontier?
No, well, I'm talking about back in the day when they'd come around with, like the carts and stuff.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Remember how you'd see the
bank bag. Yeah.
well, the bag, or occasionally you just see a stewardess who just happened to be knuckling a fistful of bones.
It was still like that when I started working in the airline because you used to bring in cash bags. So we actually had
the
cash
bank bag
bags.
things,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, they were heavier than like your normal bank bag. So
bulletproof.
Sure. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. So, but yeah, we used to have those, and we used to. I mean, they were bigger too. They were almost like the size of a purse, rather than just a little bank bag.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything was exclusively cash. So you wanted a beer, it was $2. You know, so
$2.
$2. Yeah,
That's not bad.
no, that's not for a little can of Budweiser. Yeah, that's not bad. So
Yeah, you didn't get the full can, did you?
no, you get the full can.
You got the
So-
12 ouncer, right?
Well, actually, no. I think they would pour you half of it, and then
what
they
I
put it
thought,
back
yeah.
in the cart. So it might have been different with like wine or liquor. So because I know if they pop the seal on those, but the beer we would throw it out. All right, throw it out.
They can't see you.
You can't see me. Yeah.
Like the listening audience to know that Patrick made the chugging motion.
Yeah, no, that was not dick fingers. This was much more specific. Yeah.
Well, didn't they used to sell you just like the little bottles of...
Yeah, the little Smirnoffs
Yeah,
and stuff. Yeah. So,
Smirnoffs.
well, they would make you like a cocktail. So
Right,
you get like a screwdriver or something. But like, yeah, when we used to clean those out every single night, they had to do inventory. And then they'd put a little like seal, like a tie tape.
Right.
That had a serial number on it on the thing, so you couldn't go in there and help yourself to the beer. So now, what's funny about that is, I guess it's not that funny, but nobody gave a shit about the soda cart as long as it was full. the next day.
Right.
And so we would go in there at night, and we were just cleaning the plane at night, fucking slamming Pepsi.
Yeah.
And things like that, because we had like 3 skids of them downstairs in the break room, you know. And you know, like the rule on that, as far as we were concerned, was like, just don't take enough where it becomes a problem, you know.
How hard is that? Why does somebody always have to ruin that?
Dude, this was at TWA, so everybody there was really old school, and so there were some people who'd be like, "I didn't pay for that, and so it's not mine. I'm not going to touch it," you know. But then they wouldn't like rat you out either. So, but if we had one guy, he was kind of a cheap ass, and he would actually go down and like try like get himself a 6-pack. He got called out on that. We're like, you can have a drink if you're thirsty. You're not taking 5 more home to your fucking kids, you know. So, and so it was just kind of like that. I know what you're doing, man. So just because the rule isn't explicit doesn't mean that it's giving you free license to test its boundaries. All right, don't be an asshole.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. You know what the rule is.
Right.
You know, because you know that's something that I feel that companies should offer. There should be some sort of, I don't care where you work. It's just be like, yes, you get free Coke. Like,
Yeah, sure.
come in here, bring your 7-Eleven trophy for.
Manager of the month. Yeah.
No, the one that you make the dude drink out of in Last Crusade.
Oh.
Bring in your 7-Eleven drinking trophy and fill up on Pepsi and drink that throughout the day. If you want, that should be free.
Yeah. But some assholes just have to push it, man. I'm watching this guy do it at the bar right now. So at the bar, we used to have they used to have beer mugs and if you were part of the club, you got the big mug. Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody else gets the pint glass. All right. Well, apparently they stopped doing that like fucking last fall, and they were just waiting for them all to break. And so eventually they do. And so just like 2 weeks ago, they get down to they're down to the last couple. All right. Well, one of the guys is like, well, can I have it? You know, and they were like, yeah, sure. You know, he's a regular and stuff. They asked me if I want. I was like, nah, I already got one from the previous batch from several years ago when you had the smaller ones that I liked and stuff. And then, you know, next thing I know, he's starting to bring it in. All right, now everybody's starting to bring in their own thing.
Of course.
And I'm like, this is not going to fucking work. The first guy who shows up with that trophy and asks me, fill this up with beer, you know? And I mean, I just see it from a fairness perspective too. It's fine, all right? So I get it. You've been here a long time, but that's dick in the ass theory, all right?
Yeah.
So you shouldn't be able to actually call that one just because you've been here long enough and punish your liver as hard as I have at this place.
Sure.
Okay? When I'm coming in as a brand new customer and I sit down and I look at these guys, I go, well, cool, where do I get one of those? And they're like, well, we don't have them anymore. So it's like, well, I'll buy one. It's like, no, we don't have them anymore. It's like, well, if I buy, you know, my own and bring it in, can I start using it like those guys? So, you know, when you start making exceptions for people.
No. You are stumbling on the classic problem of this deal is for new customers only, right? It's that same kind of thing.
Veterans only. Yeah.
Those guys will give it to.
I'm not a fan of that one anymore, man. I can go into that if you want me to, but anyway, I like yours. I like yours.
No. Okay. All right. This is perfect. Okay, go ahead.
Well, I guess it's not so much like cutting a veteran a deal kind of thing. I don't really have a problem with that. The thing that I've really soured on in the last couple of years is like the thank you for your service thing.
Oh, well,
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And then, and so like, and then watching other guys who, yes, you are a veteran, and I get that, all right, and things like that, all right, but why do you get a cheaper license plate than I do? You know? So I can see if it's a private business and Walmart says, yeah, we'll do it. We'll cut that, you know, or things like that. But now when the state fucking turns around and says, oh, actually, no, we're going to turn around and not only like give you guys all these benefits, but then we're going to charge you less for other things. And it's like, okay. And then I see guys out there, it's like, that's fine. You got your Vietnam plates. My father-in-law's got Vietnam plates. I don't have a problem with that. All right. The one that I'm starting to see way too many of them is the DV plates. Oh, and it's just really, you know? So And I'm not saying that, you know, people like that don't deserve a little bit extra, but I've seen some of the people who are quote, these are dick fingers.
Right.
For the people in the audience who cannot see that. Fortunately, it's just William.
Well, all right.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, Will.
Now,
so the thank you for your service thing. I had a buddy who, like, when my PhD program, he kind of sorted me out on this one. The guy was true, like, to the bone green, Army green. Okay, so like started in the Army when he was 17. All right, quit and retired when he was like 54. So he started out, did the enlisted thing just like your pop did, became an officer. Okay. Went through OCS and stuff, and I remember one point in time, you know, he was telling us, and I was going to say thank you, and he looked at me and he was like, "Don't say that to me." He's like, "You have to understand that ever since Vietnam, okay, anybody who's in the military signed up to do it, okay." And he says, "I knew full well what I was getting into. I decided to stay all that time, and I had the best fucking time of my life. The last thing I need you to do is turn around and thank me for actually having a good time for the last 30 years.
okay. Now,
and I mean, this guy had been to 3 wars, man. I mean, yeah, he was legit. So
don't get me wrong. Okay, so I understand his perspective, and I also understand that this, of course, is something that we've delved into before. I don't like. It's the same thing we talk about with, you know, minority situations and stuff like that. Don't presume to speak for every person of that group. So I'm sure there are some people who are like, you know, you're welcome.
Oh yeah, there are.
The problem I'm seeing here, sort of like what you're talking about, is just going into a profession, regardless of what that is, does not determine whether or not they should be thanked for it. I.e., okay,
teachers.
Dude, I ain't even touching it. Look, and you and I know I've got my stripes, but but the bottom line here is, okay, yes, you were in the military. That is no indication that you did a good job of it.
Well, and even if you did or didn't, you know, like fundamentally, just saying, like, okay, so it's like the other thing that's kind of turned me off to that is like the idea of actually having a military that's completely voluntary based is great. Okay, on a certain level, all right? The part about it that I don't like is that there is certainly like this class of, quote, Praetorians, you know, that exist out there now who see themselves as better human beings than the rest of us. And oh man, that just gets under my cross so deep because I'm paying for that shit. Oh, yeah. You know? Yeah. And so, like, you know, the whole thing where, and I get it, you know, there are some times where, all right, so fine, okay, there is a level of sacrifice that's going to take in order to actually commit to a certain career field that's not going to have transferable skills over to the civilian world very easily. That's fine. Okay. All right, got it. Okay, fine. All right, here's your training, stuff like that. Here's your college bucks, things like that. But to go from a situation where you are the cream of the crop, okay, you test in, you get into the Air Force Academy or the Naval Academy, you start flying F-18s for a fucking living, okay, you get to do all the cool things, all right, that most little kids will never sniff in their entire life, and then you come out and decide that you're entitled to be able to run for Congress? Fuck you. You know?
I get it. And I'll also say, like, there's also nothing that discourages you from having that title or going after it yourself, right? It's on me as a voter to decide whether or not I decide those are meaningful meaningful credentials or not.
Yeah, I guess I've started to learn to discount those a little bit more than I did maybe 5 years ago.
I don't discount it, but I just don't think it's a free ride. I don't think it's a like, say for example, if somebody was running for Senate and they said, I did 5 years at T. Rowe Price, right? So, I don't know.
I used to be a greeter at Walmart. You know?
Like, okay, there may be a version of this where I say, oh, okay, that guy might know about, you know, retirement accounts.
Sure.
Right? But to me, that's not going to be the thing that throws it over the edge. I would be saying, cool, what else you got? Right? So the same thing of, I smoked a bunch of like MiG-24s.
Over Dien Bien Phu, you know,
What kind of aircraft were you flying?
Right, yeah,
an
exactly.
F-22. Yeah. So you fired on them from like 6 miles away? So
try 60. Yeah.
Never saw it coming. You know, so again, it's just a qualification. It's not something I'm going to discount. I also, again, my whole thing is I don't know if you did a good job or not. Again, the people that you constantly thank, you're supposed to thank policemen and firefighters and things like that.
Oh, is that the new thing now too?
It was, and then they tried to roll it back.
Good.
Because you remember they were defunding the police and all that other stuff.
Well, I mean, like that and the firefighters in particular. I mean, I've never known a firefighter who didn't love his job. I've only known a few.
Can't do that job without loving it.
Yeah, yeah. I've known cops who are kind of on the fence. All right, so cops do have a tendency to get a little bit jaded after a while. Well, though sometimes they get really cool too.
Absolutely.
I've known both types.
Yeah.
You know, like all the the Wounded Warrior Project at the airport. So,
there you go.
all those guys were so cool, and every last one of them been shot at some point in time.
Right.
Yeah, you know. So you know, but they were cool. You know, they were like, all right, you know, I'm still in. At least I can still wear the uniform, because otherwise you take the check and you're done.
Yeah.
You know, at that point in time.
They'll put you at a desk somewhere.
Yeah.
If you.
But and like I said, I've only known a couple firefighters in my life, but I never knew someone who didn't absolutely love it. And so, like, the idea of, like, yeah, if they run into my house and save my fucking cat, yeah, I'm gonna thank them left and right. You know, but if I see them they come to the bar like at least once a year to do a fundraiser, I give them $10, no problem. Okay, but I'm not gonna shake every one of their hands and say, oh, thank you for your service. You know, it's like, man, motherfuckers, you guys got fun jobs. I'm jealous of you. You know?
I get it. Yeah, I totally understand. And it's not even necessarily a fun or not fun thing. It's a thing of, look, I know what they put you through.
Sure.
I know that the very first thing that they do, they actually do a version of the Marine Corps thing where it's, they tell you up front, look, there's a good chance that you can die. Okay, we want you to know that right now.
Yeah.
There is a good chance with all of the chemicals that are burned that you will get cancer.
Yep.
Right? They'll break down these things because they want you to quit. They only want the people who are such enthusiasts that you get a kick out of pushing yourself to a dangerous situation.
Yeah.
Okay? So that I totally understand, but that doesn't also, like, to me, you're finding people that are a good fit for a profession. So that would be like me saying, hey, man, thank you for climbing all those rocks at Moab.
Right, yeah.
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 Yeah. Thanks, dude.
Yeah, thanks, dude.
Yeah.
Thanks for saving me 15% or more on car insurance.
That's right. And again, you know, don't get me started on the sanctimoniousness of teachers, because
we can go into that.
Do you want to go into it?
Yeah, I don't think we've actually had a good bitch fest about that in a while.
Should we disclose right now exactly what
we're both
who we are and what we've done?
So we're going to talk about black people, and we're about as black as they get at this point in time. We're not. We're like,
right.
We were teachers.
So we're clarifying. So as an ethnic minority teacher, or
right, yeah.
Okay, so
I don't know, where do you want to start?
All right. Well, my name's Jeffrey, and I served a 4-year sentence. Didn't quite get the teardrop tattoo, but I served a 4-year sentence in public schools. Patrick?
I did too, in public schools, and then I've been teaching college for 12 years now. I am still a teacher.
Yeah, actually, technically I am too.
Yeah,
so.
you are too.
Yeah.
So, and you've been doing that fairly consistently for what, the last 2 years?
About a year. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Year and some change.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And teachers, they really fool themselves sometimes.
They can be. I don't know though, man. Okay, so actually, like, going through the school system now, watching my daughter go through it. All right, I've made a couple bad calls on a couple of her teachers, just because it's like kind of my inclination to say, like, yeah, all teachers are fine, whatever.
Sure.
None of them are great, none of them are terrible, you know. But like, then I saw like my wife completely flip on this one teacher.
What the hell happened?
Well, not like lose her temper, but like started discounting what I said about him. Because I was like, he's fine. He's like, well, now I actually think he's a problem, and blah, 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 and stuff like that. And so by the end of the year, I was kind of like, yeah, okay, but we all get shitty teachers kind of thing. All right. But he was definitely one of those guys that I know, this is kind of where you're thinking about on this one. The people who, I do everything I can for the children. And he was great about it too. Well, I'm being really facetious here. He would actually send out emails on like Thursday, says, if you have any concerns about your kid, I need to know about it by tomorrow morning because weekend times are mine. And I was like, okay. So I wasn't going to email you anyway, but I might now.
Just ask him stupid questions.
Yeah.
It's like,
So I have a problem with CMAS this year. I don't think this additive subtractive way that you're teaching math is conducive to my daughter's success down the road. I was wondering if we could actually get a modification.
I thought you were going to be more annoying. Like, does this look infected to you? Am I annoying?
Yeah. What you doing? What you doing? Yeah.
It just comes to me like on Saturday morning. It's just like, so this new place that sells tacos that opened up on Oro Blanco.
I know you live over there. Have you checked it out?
Do you want to go?
Yeah. I don't want to go unless you say it's good. Yeah.
I don't want to be the only guy there.
No, I didn't really want to deal with them that much at that point in time.
No.
But I mean, then this year she's got a really cool teacher. He's solid. He knows his shit. He knows his curriculum. But he's a 20-year guy. Okay, she's had a couple other teachers that were kind of like, you can tell. And this is where I think a lot of teachers fall, especially when they hit about that 5 to maybe 10-year mark. Right in there, it's like, I got to get the fuck out of this. And so how's the quickest way I can get into admin? Yeah. So, because if you get people, once they've been broken in that spirit and they get up to like 14, 15 years, they're fine. Or they're terrible,
Yeah, but they're fine in their terribleness because remember that trust is not counting on somebody to do something well. It's being able to anticipate their actions. So even if you have a teacher that's kind of, they're fine.
You can trust them.
You can bank on it.
Yeah, you know what they're going to do.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that. So,
like, say, for example, that, again, we don't need to name names here. Not that this really matters for fucking 25-year-old data or whatever, but we had a teacher in our middle school who had been on so long that every single year she had so much vacation banked that she was in Hawaii
for a month.
An entire month.
Yeah.
In the gifted program.
Well, that's why her ass was parked on the gifted program, man. So, I mean, me personally, now I think just about all gifted education is horse shit. So it is not good, man. So, at least not in the way that it actually is, like how I remember it being. Okay, where they would actually make you do harder shit. Now it's much, much more just affirmative. And I'm not a fan of that.
What do you mean? What do you mean? What are they doing?
So,
because you have children in that program now.
Well, no, we're going to pull her. So, yeah. I mean, I think she might still be, like, obliquely in it, but it's one of those things where it's like, okay, if you're a smart kid, I don't really feel the need to punish you with more work. All right. I'd rather have you enjoy school. So if it becomes something that you actually enjoy doing, you'll do better at it in the long run. But now I'm really kind of sour on it because the few gifted sessions that she's had have all been like, we got this book like last week. It's like how to talk to your gifted child. It is flaming horseshit. The whole thing is terrible.
Can you cite examples of said horseshit?
Oh, it talks about basically, understanding and recognizing differences between your child and other children out there, and helping your child deal with those differences in a way that's not condescending, which is exactly what everything this fucking book is.
Fuck that.
Yeah, exactly.
What is that approach right up there? Just to immediately differentiate and say like, well, Timmy,
right,
the crayon eater,
so, the Marine. So yeah, no, it's all based upon like stuff that I remember back from my education program. That I dabbled in a little bit and then started to realize it was bullshit. Okay, so like the whole thing, like growth mindset, Carol Dweck, I've seen her speak, man, like in person. So I met her. Very cool thing. But the whole idea that, well, if I just tell myself I'm not there yet, doesn't actually motivate you to do more work, okay? So the thing that actually motivates you to do more work is whether or not you're going to get some kind of reward for it, or whether or not someone's going to hit you if you don't, okay?
Oh my God.
So, yeah. And so, like, you know, this whole idea, and then, like, the other one that really pisses me off is Duckworth, and her shit's everywhere. She's the grit lady. Have you heard about grit in schools? So,
has this been the same thing that they've been peddling for about 15 years?
yes.
Okay.
It is terrible. So, you know.
Well, it's just platitudes.
It's totally platitudes. And what it does is it completely absolves, like, most people of either A, their failings, or B, it absolves the school system of its failings. Okay? Because it turns around and says, oh, your kids just aren't working hard enough. That's the problem. You know, it's like, oh, well, cool, not our fault. You know, so, well, it's a generational thing, blah, blah, blah. You know, and it's like, actually, no. So if the school system, like, across the board is actually failing kids on standards that have been established for at least 20 years now, okay, that means your management is bad. And you need to do something about that, you know? So, not it's like, oh, it's these millennial kids, or, you know, or these Gen Zoomers now.
No, you're talking about, yes, you're the classic thing of, like, blaming the audience for not liking the product.
Exactly.
You know,
That's exactly what it is.
It's
man.
the same thing. It's
exactly what it is. It's like, why aren't you guys showing up to Star Wars the way you did before? It's like, well, maybe because it sucks. Yeah.
But that's not possible.
It's not possible. It's
Are you
Star
sure?
Wars. Are you sure?
Are you sure you guys didn't, like, get a lot more racist in the past few years?
Yeah, exactly.
Could you write on this piece of paper on a scale of 1 to 10 how much you hate women?
Right. Yeah.
You know, of course, you have people that need to throw off the results like me. So it's like, so 10's the highest.
Yeah.
What happens if I write 11?
Yeah.
Do I go to jail?
Do I go to jail? You just shoot me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you going to ask me to leave?
Yeah.
Right. And so
the teachers that are really baked in, steeped in this stuff, okay, they're the ones who become your GT teachers. Okay.
Right.
They become your most evangelistic,
of course,
in terms of anything that has anything to do with educational psychology. And it's okay. So first of all, not only is it an educational field, which is about as it's about as made up as you can possibly fucking get. Okay, in terms of a social science. All right.
It's neighbors with phrenology, but it's not.
Well, they're kind of on opposite sides of the fence, but yeah, the houses do back up to each other.
They're in the same neighborhood.
They're in the same neighborhood. Yeah, and then right next door to that, of course, you have like psychology, which is been for the last 10 years actively tearing itself to pieces academically.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when you take two of those things together, so you take the house that's full of the weirdos with the sign that says, in this house, you know, and then it's like best friends with the house next door with the kids who are fighting each other every single day.
Yes.
Okay. And then you say, oh, well, those are the two exemplars that we should use in order to actually, it's like, no, this is a terrible idea. And so gifted programs, I'm not impressed with them. I mean, so like the school that Kat's going to go to has got like its own version of the Compass program that we had.
Oh my God.
It's not the same. It's a little bit different.
Is this, what is this?
A little bit more
the sale
formalized.
guys?
Huh?
Are these the sale guys?
Sale's long gone too. That got murdered. But it's the same damn thing. They're just going to find some way to call it new. It's a way to separate some of the children's from the other children's.
Right.
And so they take the really smart kids and they'll put them all in one place, and those kids won't have to fight, the same fights that the other kids will. They'll get to go on field trips that the other kids won't get to sniff.
Certainly.
Things like this. Fucking bullshit. So, what it really is, because it just teaches you that, like, oh, well, if I'm smart enough in this world, then that's all I need to do in order to actually get what I want. And you and I both know that's not true.
That's my major problem with this.
Yeah.
Okay, is this wasn't like a formal, informal testing or anything like that. It happened to be observational. So take it for.
Oh, now they have all cutoff tests and things like that. Yeah.
All I'm going to say here is, so I can't tell you exactly when segregationalist, educational practices happen, where you would separate things into red group, yellow group, blue group,
buzzards and owls. Yeah, right.
But what I can say is that as far back as I know, and before my time, they were doing the same thing.
Oh yeah,
right.
And now, you knew which group was which when you were a kid.
We did, and
yeah.
I'm not going to touch on that, all right, because we know it's like Johnny's a red group.
Johnny's in red group, and all of his friends are in jail right now. Yeah,
yeah.
So, yeah.
But what I am going to say is, teachers almost exclusively come from the yellow group or whatever that
Whatever the
top
hot one,
group
gold
is.
group, yeah.
Right. So there's this weird expectation of, well, I knew how to do this when I was a kid.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, clearly, because you weren't in the fucking red group, right?
Right.
Because in red group, it was, they weren't celebrating reading, they were celebrating, did you not bite anyone today? Right? So, of course your goddamn expectations are different. You just
4 days without an injury. Let's see if we can make it a week, boys and girls.
oh my god, yeah. It's like, why do they call you Four-Fingered Lane? Funny story.
Funny story.
Yeah, it's that thing where you said it's always that whole cultural expectation. Well, that's how I grew up. It's like, you grew up with the advanced kids.
Yeah.
Okay? We all did.
Yeah.
We all did. We all went into these kind of fields.
Sure.
We all did. There's not a whole lot of people that come from red group that are like, I really want to be a teacher. I really want to make a difference.
Yeah, it's rare.
It happens. Okay? It does happen.
It does happen. It is rare, though. And the thing about it is that, yeah, so if yellow group is our group of kids who are smart, all right.
What were they called? Like
Smart
Robins
group.
and
Yeah, they had all kinds of different ones. Everybody knew who they were. So it's like, oh well, those kids are eagles, and those ones over there are buzzards. So they would always know which one was which. Regardless of whether you called it gold group or alpha group or
right.
fall group and spring group. Everybody fucking knew.
Yeah.
So.
And there wasn't any chicken hawk pride, right? It wasn't like you're getting shirts.
Oh no, yeah. If you were in buzzard group, it's like, yeah, you made up with knuckles, later on or whatever.
Well, because they broke out in different cohorts, because it was like, you could be a yellow group reader, but you could be a chicken hawk in math,
right?
And it'd be funny because you'd have that kid, the one like, the one that's breathing, right? I don't. Everybody breathes, but this one, like, you can hear, you can like see it, and you're like, I'm in math with this guy.
Yeah, these mouth breathers. I found myself in that math class when I was a senior.
Yeah,
it was great.
Oh no, that's
glorious, man.
No, that's fine.
Yeah,
I took that math class too.
Yeah, it was glorious. I took it with Kevin. Yeah. So but I mean, it's like, yeah, exactly. He belonged there. I helped him with his math. So, but I think that I don't know, man. I think I was trying to articulate that to Will a couple of weeks ago. Kind of like my problem with the meritocracy, and the whole idea that we actually run school based upon brains. Because like what happens, like, it's not like the AP classes like you and I used to do and stuff like that, where you get plowed with more work. All right. You don't do that anymore. So with a lot of these programs. So, and I see it with my high school graduates all the time. So we have kids who come into these programs and they're fucking smart.
Yeah,
they're way smart. They've never been challenged. So, in a way, and they all sit there and they look at me, and when they look at me like I'm crazy when I say, you guys are all way good enough to go to Harvard. And they're like, oh no, blah, blah, blah. I was like, all you motherfuckers are from Pueblo, from broken families, from a little town and a steel town in the Midwest. I can write your goddamn essay for you. Okay. And you will get into Harvard. All right. And they just don't believe me because they've never actually had any kind of influence upon them that was like, get off your ass and go do that. I mean, you can do it. So,
look, there are certain things that you'd have to do well. It's not just the essay. I'd have to take a look at your test scores and stuff like that. And
yeah, sure. You could definitely do better than where you're going to school right now.
Of course. Like, if you're going to tell me, if you're going to look at these guys and say, not a one of you is worthy of going to the Ohio State.
The Ohio State. But see, that's the difference, is when I was teaching at the other school up here, everybody there, that probably is the best school they can get into. So.
Oh, the university?
The university. If they're better than that, they go to Boulder. And if they're better than that, they go out of state. So to an Ivy League. So the kids that I taught up there, they are topped out. Okay. So now it might not be like I'm not smart enough. It might be like, well, my family makes too much money and we can't afford just straight up tuition. Okay, fine. All right. It might be a situation where it's like, well, I'm taking care of my mom.
Yeah,
something like that. That's absolutely fine. But it's like whatever's going on in their lives, that's their cap out and they're fine with that. Okay. They can always go to grad school somewhere if they really want to.
Yeah, of course.
But like the students that I deal with down at my other school, they don't even feel that way. They're like, like, well, we go to Taco Tech here because it's great and it's close,
Is that what you call it?
Yeah, that's what we call it. So, but they don't have any kind of like they feel like they've had to settle for something in some respects, which is completely different than the students that I had at the university up here, who basically, and unfortunately when I was teaching in the education program, so these were all your yellow kids.
Oh yeah.
And they were fucking insufferable. So
aren't they?
Oh my god, they were terrible, man. And so, and it was like, so they came in like 3 different flavors. You had the one who was like, I hate this word, but it's completely entitled, so it's just absolutely inside and out.
You may hate the word, but it does apply sometimes.
Yeah.
It belongs in the toolbox. It doesn't mean that people haven't pounded in way too many nails with that rock.
Yeah.
But it is the appropriate tool for the job sometimes.
And so they're sitting there hitting me with their yellow bullshit. Okay. So, well, obviously I'm smart enough because I'm here kind of thing. And, it's just like, actually, you know what? I'm going to disagree with you on this one. What do you got to say about that? Actually, I think you're wrong. Defend yourself, kind of thing. And I mean, I wasn't tenured, so it's like, fine, fucking fire me. I got my other job, at this point in time, but never had a complaint or anything. But I did have like, people who would try and run around me and go up to the department chair or something like that all the time. It was like, well, I need this issue addressed in this class. So, and department chair was like, okay, talk to Pat about it. So, well, he's the problem, kind of thing. And this is stuff that I only heard about after, I was through the semester. It never even occurred to me that was going on at the time. But sure enough, that's the only place that I've ever caught people doing that to me. So you'd have kids who, their parents are getting involved in their education up there, which is horrifying. I had that happen a couple times when I was teaching the community college because the kids actually were under the age of 18. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. All right.
You got it.
Yep. Caught me off guard the first time it happened. I was like, oh shit, you're right. That she's 16 and she's on, those programs that they do up in your brother's district.
Yeah.
Hey,
they used to do that at our school.
Oh, do they?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a new thing. So, and then the other thing is so that's one group of students. All right. Then the next group of students are the people who are smarter than you and they know it. Okay. But it will not matter in the long run. And so it's really difficult to actually kind of like describe that to them in some ways. It's like, it doesn't matter how fucking smart you are in education. You got to work with people on their level, wherever they are. You got to be maybe, enough where they're getting something out of you. Okay, fundamentally, but if you're just going to sit here, you're going to tell me you're going to be a preschool teacher and you're trying to lecture me like a grad assistant. I was like, that's not going to work. All right. So just because you're the smartest person in the room doesn't mean people are going to do what you tell them to do. In fact, oftentimes they'll actively work against you. So just out of resentment more so than anything else.
Well, just
or because you deserve it.
Okay. Yeah. But as a preface for this, what exactly were you there to teach? What was the course you were teaching?
My course was basically the history of education in the United States from about 1800 to, I don't know, today.
All right.
So it was basically like, welcome to teaching. Here's what we've done. Well, in the past. It was a 100 level course.
I totally understand. Yeah. But all I'm saying here is, all right, that person may know the application of Maslow inside and out, right?
Sure.
Or whatever. But the point is, they may not know the history. God knows I didn't. I didn't pay attention to any of that crap.
Yeah.
I was like, because I don't care.
Yeah.
Right? But the bottom line is, you're the subject matter expert for that subject,
Sure.
not me. So
Yeah.
even if I can look at you and say, Mr. Patrick, right now I am doing complex trigonometry in my head, and you're not.
Yeah.
Okay. Good for me, but that doesn't mean that I know more than you or better than you when it comes to educational theory.
Yeah, that's my point.
I'm there in your class to learn that.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who's smarter. It's just whether or not you're qualified to teach that subject.
Oh no, it's about who's smarter. So.
Oh, for them, yeah.
Yeah. It's about who's smarter. So if I can one up the teacher on something, or the professor in this case, so then I guess I score points on Twitter or something.
Right, exactly.
I don't know how it works, man,
Yeah.
but
No, the 360-degree reverse dunkings are going on in their head
Yeah.
and in nowhere else.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
yeah. So that's the second group of students, and the third group of students are just people who are like that, and they just like, oh shit, yeah, I want to be a teacher. I don't know that much about it. They're the ones who'll stay after class and ask you about your own personal experiences as a teacher, as opposed towards theory and stuff like that. And so, thankfully, there's enough of those people in there. Unfortunately, they're the ones who get eaten up in their first 2-3 years. So, because they go into it earnestly. I'm watching a friend of mine at the bar do this right now.
Is it a former bartender?
No, she is a hostess, a server there.
Oh, okay.
And she's got, I think hers is in history as well. So she's been doing her student teaching for the last year.
Oh, okay.
I think at D11, if I'm not mistaken. And she's doing it in middle school, man. So, and I think she's going to make it. So, but she's got to work both jobs.
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing. I mean, I get it. So teachers bitch about a lot of things. The one thing that I do think they are entitled to is better pay, but
Yeah,
it's not coming. So-
No, it's not coming. And unfortunately, the problem with that is I also have to say, yeah, but so are a lot of other people.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, teaching salaries are just particularly low for the amount of schooling that you have to go to get it. I think, you'd be much better off going to get your HVAC certificate in 18 months. You're going to make triple the money, and then you can go be a teacher, on your own time.
Yeah.
But I see so many kids, like, I don't know if they're still doing this, but even back then, there were a lot of people who couldn't get into the kind of job they wanted because they didn't understand how the teaching market worked. Where you go in there and you cut your teeth somewhere for a couple of years, and then you tell your district to shove the fuck off as soon as you find a better one. And sometimes it doesn't work, man. And so I saw a lot of people doing the exact wrong thing. Was, well, if I get my master's, it'll be fine. It was like, no, now they have to pay you more, motherfucker. They're not going to do that. So, I've seen so many people make that mistake.
Yep.
It's like, well, maybe I'll go teach college. Yeah, go for it. Go down to Pikes Peak Community College. They pay $2,000 a class. So if you do 3 of those in a semester, they'll cap you out at 4. That's $8,000 a semester. That's $16,000 a year. That's even worse.
We'll just have to do that until I make tenure.
There is no tenure, buddy. So
You'd better have some amazing research up your sleeve.
oh man, yeah, you better be a rock star on that shit.
Uh-huh.
Quite honestly, if you do that, yeah, you probably could get tenure somewhere. But
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
But Patrick, come on, man. Most people don't know how to do research. Most people don't know how to.
Oh man, I've seen professors who don't know how to fucking do it. I'm no expert on it, but the stuff that I've done, I've taken. Dude, any of the papers that I've written, any of the databases that I've worked with in the past, I can tell you right off the bat, I can manipulate the motherfucker to say whatever I want it to say, and nobody's going to check my math.
Bro, let me stop you right there. Do you want me to break out the big secret?
What big secret? What's the big secret?
Okay, especially when it comes to educational writing.
Yeah.
Okay, so the big secret. Okay, educational writing requires you to make your data set anonymous. Nobody can check your work. So you can say whatever results you want at any time.
You can't. Yeah. So, like, it depends on what you're trying to do with that, though, man. So, I don't think that you could go in there, and if you came out with, like, some kind of result that was just mind-bendingly like just blew the doors off some kind of educational theory or practice or something like that.
The problem is
you get sniffed out in that case.
Well,
so
you'd either get snipped out or the other. It depends on what you were writing about, okay? Because you'd either get sniffed out, or the other thing that would happen is somebody else would actually try it legitimately. They say, can't reproduce.
That's usually what happens.
Then somebody else would do it, say, can't reproduce your results.
Yeah.
And then you would be laughed out of town.
Well, that's the whole thing with like the grit stuff and fucking the marshmallow test and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it assumes such an important role in the education system in the 2000s and the 2010s that people say, well, we should probably go test that again. And they realize that back in the 70s when they were doing that shit, those guys were massaging their fucking data left and right. You know, or they were applying statistical techniques that are not appropriate for what they're trying to do, which any statistician like of that day would have just limited, like, yeah, you can't do that. But then, like, nobody in education understood statistics, and so they were like, oh, this is brilliant.
All you have to do is you just have to be smarter than the guy that's writing your check. Because when you go in there and explain it to them, it's like, no, see what this proves? Oh, yeah, I do. Yeah. No, I understand that. And this is not... The funny thing, Patrick, is I'm coming down so hard on this, and I'm acting like education is this this mire that completely sucks and people aren't getting anything out of it. Fact of the matter is,
that's not true. Yeah, I agree with you on that.
But I will say that there's a lot of this that... Sometimes I feel like a lot of times the education system actually succeeds despite itself, not because of itself, because there are so many contradictory ideas and certain things that are just a fact or a study or information has to be true, it seems, for like a good 12 to 15 years before people will act on it, right? Like this is something that happens, you know. I have a lot of younger students. I know what their homework load is, and I can prove to you.
Is it more or less than what we had?
Considerably more.
Is it?
Yeah.
See, that's weird, man, because the data doesn't hold up that.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is the data has proven for years that homework is not effective until high school.
Yeah. And these are middle school kids?
These are middle school, and I've seen grade school kids.
Yeah. See, I fight back against that with my daughter. So I did have a teacher last year. I was kind of like, yeah, you're pouring it on a little thick, dude. You know, so... But see, that's interesting because the data, if we look at aggregate data, and I just checked this not too long ago, they say the average amount of hours that are spent on homework is about stable with what we used to do when you and I were kids. So
what was that? 3 hours?
Something like that. It's not that much, and that's like maybe a week. So if I'm not mistaken,
depending on the district, it goes from it can be 3 hours a day.
Yeah, so that's just reversion to the mean. So yeah, I don't know, man. I mean. So, like, there are they charter school kids?
No.
Oh, okay. They're public school?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. But, I mean, depending on what state they're into, that can matter as well. So, you got different standards state to state. And then, you know, there is that element of it where, like, if you're in a really competitive district or a really high SES area, you get a lot more fucking homework than you do if you live in the hood. So, you know... almost a brutal amount of homework, so that just basically destroys you as a human being by the time you get to college. I've had brilliant kids who come from great high schools in the past. They fucking suck at college because as soon as they get the idea, it's like, oh, wait a minute. So nobody's actually watching my calendar for me every single day? Yeah, exactly. It was like, okay, point me to the nearest weed, please.
Merchant, one weed, sir.
One weed, sir.
Yeah, I know.
So, and I've seen that with athletes in particular. So I've got a couple students who just academically brilliant, athletically gifted, but then on a certain level, you know, they're almost programmed human beings, and the minute you give them a little bit of independence, they just completely come unglued. So,
and we're not talking about the good kind of programming where you like take a Sharpie and write "Born to Kill" on your.
No, we're talking about the vicarious living through your kids one. Yeah, one's just like, you know, I didn't get my chance to play for the NFL, so by God, boy, you're going to do everything that you can do in order to get in the NFL. Yeah, and if you don't make it, you're out of the will, you know. Daddy, shall I cut my own switch?
Let's call these people rappers.
Rappers, yeah.
No, that's not fair. No,
Oh, who was it? That was Michael Vick, wasn't it? Who was it?
No, AP.
Adrian Peterson.
Yeah,
You're right.
Yeah, that was the tragic one. It's like, why does this kid have whip marks on his testicles?
Right.
It's like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
No, it's weird. And again, I'm bagging on it, but I also know there's a lot of day-to-day good stuff because
There's a lot.
generally speaking, I think kids actually absorb a little bit more than we let on. And it's completely osmosis. It's funny because, I have a lot of adult language learners and stuff, and I have some people, especially those from the Orient like myself, that ask for additional resources or homework once the session is over. Right?
Yeah, that's weird.
What's funny is like, if you're asking me to put together like a packet of vocabulary things you can study, like the answer is a flat no. We're like, no, well, why? Like, if I give you a list of 600 words and say memorize these, like I did for the 6th grade spelling bee,
Yeah.
you'll pick one or two. Maybe you'll remember those. You probably won't.
Yeah, probably not.
Because I'm not going to test you on this. What I am going to do is, if you want to actually make these part of your life, okay, I want you to look at these sentences that you've written.
Sure.
Okay. And I want you to look for synonyms for these words.
Yeah.
Okay. To make sure that you're choosing the right word for the job. I won't tell you how much to do. I won't. It's like it's on you to make it stick and to make it contextualized. But I'm not going to assign you extra work.
No. And don't treat me like I'm some kind of fucking gatekeeper to knowledge either, So,
Well, I mean, yeah. Look, it wouldn't. Frankly, that's the easiest thing in the world for me to do. Is I have it bookmarked and to say, okay, these are, congratulations, these are the SAT words for 2022.
yeah.
Right. I recommend those from age 5 to age 65 because these are all somewhat sophisticated words. I don't care if you start learning these when you're young. But, dude, vocabulary and stuff is not something that you commit to memory just by looking at word and definition.
No.
It is all contextual.
No, and that speaks to my point that I was trying to make there in some respects about being the gatekeeper of knowledge. Just because you memorize 600 words doesn't mean you're good at English. And I'm not the person who can like bless you and say, "Go forth, my son," and convert. So you have now mastered the English. Go spread the word.
Oh my God! Yeah,
You can't see that. I mean, I have students like try to do that with me all the time in college. In some respects where they're like, so if I do this, I'll be a good manager or something like that. And I'm like, well, no, like I can tell you whether or not I would work for you.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that I'm giving you some kind of like seal of approval from the entire business community that's going to get you that next management job. All right.
It's like the travel pass you get signed by
Yeah. So
this certificate is good for expert status.
good for one job, sir. Yeah.
Now
You walk up to the Amazon. I got my thing, man. So I get to be a manager now. No, it doesn't work like that.
hey, look, I would say it this way. All right, much like my utterly retarded theories about revamping football. If we had a system whereupon you as an educator could judge those qualities and write somebody a certificate that would be honored,
I would be completely bribable.
that's my problem. Is
Totally bribe me.
Okay, so there would be some honesty with a lot of the certificates I gave out.
Sure.
But there would be a lot of balls kicked onto the green.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So retire early, baby. So we would call it the Pat retires at 50, fund. So you want to get me there faster? I'll get you there faster too.
That's pretty much it. Yeah,
No, education doesn't work like that, man.
No.
So thank God it doesn't. But at the same point in time, Like there are people. This is my problem with the idea of like just giving the prize to the smartest kid in the room. Okay, because that's not how the actual world works. All right. So, there is no like one way to achieve things. And so if you are brought up where you're the one who always gets patted on the head because you can answer shit first before everybody else, when you get to the working world, you get your ass reamed, or you're a really terrible employee, or, you're just not going to fit in very well. And you're going to say, fuck this and go be a teacher. Buddy. And all of those things, can be easily avoided. By just like actually just toning that down a notch. Just because you take 9 fucking extra classes every single year to get done faster doesn't mean you're actually learning anything.
Well, you're talking about one of the bigger problems in reconciling life, right? Because I'm going to break it to you. You probably have a lot of the same situation here. There's a lot of the smartest and most talented people I knew growing up, okay, that was not necessarily an indication of what I would view as success. I mean, we're talking about a lot of people who were so bright that ultimately, what did you end up doing? Well, I kind of sat underneath a tree and wrote poetry. Right?
Yeah.
Where it came down to, like, I knew a lot of guys that exceptionally bright. What did you do in college? I drank. Mm-hmm. Right. Plenty of things like this. It doesn't mean that they wouldn't be good at certain jobs. It's just there's a pretty severe disconnect when it comes to like the way that we present people. There are a lot of things that I like to call prestige positions.
There's a lot of prestige positions.
And we're talking about things that are like in the entertainment industry or high up parts in different jobs and things like that. And that's not to say that there's not a lot of people who didn't work their rear ends off to get there.
Yeah.
The issue is there's also a lot of that has to do with, did you get here by being the smartest person? I don't know.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know. I really can't
say either. So I think in a lot of ways you can make up with it with hard work. Sometimes hard work doesn't pay off too, though. So I hate hearing that one. No. So, I mean, dude, you and I both, and I hear people argue this one all the time, but I know people who are poor as fuck and work their asses off, and so that one doesn't always pay off either.
Yeah.
But sometimes it does. And sometimes being a smart guy pays off too, but it's like the education system, the way that it's kind of gone ever since we instituted testing, kind of across the board, which has its pluses and minuses. I hear so many people just junk that. I don't think that's the right answer to that. Like everybody says, well, we could do it with samples and then just test them 4 times.
Yeah, but they're not trees.
That would actually work.
Yeah.
No, I get that. Or even have everybody test. I've heard this one. Have everybody test a 4th grade, 8th grade, and a 10th or 11th grade. So, and that's it. That's all you have to do. Or have everybody test every year, but just do it like on a rotating basis. Because really, you're not looking for like test scores are meaningless. You know this. So, in terms of like your actual standardized testing, they beat the school up. So, which is kind of the idea behind it, but they don't really do anything for the kids.
Well, no, that's exactly it. Is what exactly is it? Because you're talking about. So if they say like, well, if we only do this 4th grade, 8th grade, 11th grade, the argument would be, well, how can you take corrective action then if you don't know? Like you won't. You're not going to. Your system doesn't actually permit that. So throw that argument out or change it.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. And that like, so the dude that I knew who was like, you knew him at Doherty, was the same guy. Who he had the best argument that I ever heard about that. He was really straightforward. He was like, what do we do with them? All right. So if we fail people out, you understand that by law, we have to take them. So, yeah. And he's like, should we go put them all in Gitmo? He says, what happens to Gitmo then? So it means if you go there, you never come out, and he's like, none of these are good solutions. And so when people say, well, you got to raise your standards, you actually got to hold people's feet to the fire. You do have to think about like, okay, what do you do with the guys who can't do that? Now, like every other district with the exception of one in this fucking town, does that anyway, and then they just poop the other kids out. Those two districts, you know?
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Because ultimately they got to go somewhere if you're not going to throw them in jail or put them in the mines. You know?
Look, this is the problem is you cannot apply an answer to that actually would be effective, because the problem with that is your Gitmo, okay, needs to be a place that either people want to get the hell out of because it sucks. Yeah. And I mean, oh, you have to go to this school? Great. Okay. So pack your clothes. You will be staying on site.
Yeah, it's like Hogwarts, but a bad one.
But it's like, okay, so here's how this works. Okay, because you have showed that you're unable to fit into this society with choices. Yeah. You have to go here. All right. Wake up is at 5:30. You will be running laps at 6. Yeah. Breakfast is at 7.
Jeffrey's educational gulag.
Okay. No, and you have to do this thing where people, they either want to get out, or B, they're like, this actually works for me.
Yeah, or they straighten up. Yeah. So literally,
they
like,
want to stay there. Yeah. Yes. And so if Gitmo sucks, and you're like, I promise, guys, I'll straighten up. Where it's intrinsic, you're like, because the result is I go back to Gitmo. Yeah. Right. But you can't do that. The government would be like, this is a crime.
Yeah.
You can't do this to children.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm telling you, because they're like, so we emphasize a few things here. We emphasize physical activity, proper nutrition. We will control what you eat. We will control what your activities are. You have free time from 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock. You may call your parents at that time, but not at 8:01 because that is lights out.
That's lights
right?
Out. That's reading time.
Yeah. Right. That's fine. And I actually, from the part of my brain that is of the steps, of the con, there is a piece of me that says this is the only thing that would work, right? But you can't institute that.
No, you can't. Yeah, so, like, it's fun to dream about, but it's different. You know, yeah, you get lawsuited to death.
Rightly so, and I support it.
Yeah, but... So the trick is to emulate that in some way. I don't know exactly how to do that. And I mean, that's... Like you said, the education system succeeds despite its failures. And that's, I mean, so the metaphor that I used to use was it's just basically a chungus. So it's a pyramid, okay? You know, everyone is kind of designed along the same lines, and it has so many kids in it that if you get up close to it and if you look at the Great Pyramid of Giza, it looks like shit. Okay,
awful.
It's awful. But if you get like 100 miles away from it, you look at it, you're like, oh, that's pyramid. You get another 100 miles, it's still a pyramid. You get another 100 miles, it's like, I think I see a pyramid over there.
It's a dot, but it looks kind of like...
Yeah. And so it's just a chungus, man. It's not going anywhere. And it basically, it does what it does because of the way that the American workforce is set up, especially with having dual income households now. It's basically American subsidized daycare. Okay, where you learn shit, okay? But then the other piece of it is that, like, well, kids really do like to learn things, you know, and they like to learn it from different people, and so having a common environment where you can all do that just kind of makes it work, you know, because it's something that the kids basically want to do, you know?
Okay.
And so... You know, like, you know, I've seen so many people argue, oh, you need charter schools and break down the public school. Oh, unions are the problems and blah, blah. It's like, none of those things are the fucking problem. The fucking problem is that none of these things will, like, there is no way to do this perfectly for everybody the same way.
Not even a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, stop trying. Just love it for all the warts that it's got and all, because really when it comes down to it, it's probably one of the central institutions, one of the only common institutions that just about everybody in this nation goes through at some point in time in their life, you know?
Yes, you're talking. So, as much as Disney would like it to be true, Star Wars is not the cultural milestone anymore. School is.
It's always been school, man. Where did you talk to your friends about Star Wars? Where did you learn about Star Wars back in the day? You know, so
you can make different arguments, but yeah, the school's that lasting institution. And like, here's the other thing: is you have so many different variables to account for, right? So there's a number of students I can tell you right now, because I can say with absolute certainty, okay, Patrick, I can tell you about like new jobs I've started. I can tell you about, classes I've taken, things like this.
Sure.
Things that were completely out of my realm of comfort. I knew nothing about it, but I was starting it. And I can tell you there was an exceptional amount of nervousness that I was going through. And I would come in there and I would sit down and I wouldn't have anything out. I'd just be kind of looking left and right. And until I saw enough people taking out pencils and pads, then I would take mine out, right? So there's this version of school of, well, what are you doing? Well, you're seeing what the social situation is and you're adapting to it properly, ergo, you are learning. And if the other people around you are learning, you're going to do that because they are, right? So, much like my poor corgi who's gone now that would run around sheep and, spin them in a circle and stir them up, right? It's like, all right, I'm going to put the children and the education in the same room and it will soak into them if I spin enough circles.
Yeah.
Right? That can't happen when one lamb is over here like bending paper clips and putting them into light sockets. You can't have them do that.
Can't have them do that.
Can't have them do that.
Yeah.
Okay?
So
People get away.
right.
Right? So if you're doing that and they're in a place where the knowledge is happening, they will get it.
Yeah, they get it by osmosis.
But beyond that, the individual elements of motivation, you gotta be kidding. So your kid is like, well, I've got one kid over here who wants to learn because his dad's in jail and doesn't want to be that way. I have another kid from the same family who doesn't want to learn because his dad's in jail and he hates society. Like, so how do I account for both? Is the problem my class or jail or their parents or I don't know? That's three variables right now.
Global warming.
And then you have assholes come in there and say like, the problem is these kids aren't working hard enough.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, oh my God.
I have almost no patience for anybody who's going to try and tell me anything about the problem with the education system nowadays. It's like, you don't even fucking, come on, man. It was like, because everybody had different experience in school. So so the things that I actually would change in the system, I boot history out of the fucking curriculum.
You've been animated.
I would just
don't
fucking
know if
kick
that's
it the
fair.
fuck out, unless it was like your senior year. And the reason for that is if you look at like the things that people fight about in terms of curriculum, nobody fights about math. All right, they fight about like, oh well, division. We shouldn't teach division. It's like
No, you can't say that because they do multiplication and division way differently than I used to.
they do, but it's still fundamentally math. All right, so they're not like rewriting the rules of the order of operations. Okay, that's what we do with history all the time. So just boot it the fuck out. All right, so fine, leave it for college and stuff like that. All right, or maybe you get a year of it. Maybe in like 4th grade and 8th grade, whatever. Okay, or a unit. There we go. We'll do a unit. So kick that out there because everybody comes to me, especially from a political bent. It's like, well, if they just taught the kids this, blah, 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 and actually spent time on yada, yada, yada. It's like, man, motherfucker, you have no idea how much curriculum you're asked to actually fucking teach. Okay, it's impossible. All right, and so literally, don't tell me what to add or what to change. Y'all need to tell me what do we cut. All right, and so let's start with that. I'm willing to throw up my fucking degree for cut. Go for it. All right. And the same thing's true with like some of the authority that like maybe I actually like the local school board system, but it means that you do get fucktards every now and then. Who get on a board and start making a stink about something that's actually not a big fucking deal, and it's going to piss off all the principals in the school, so which is going to piss off all the teachers, which is going to bleed over to the PTA, and it's just going to turn into this fucking perpetual shit show, which I've seen happen so many times in school districts around here, man.
Oh, of course.
So, that it's just like, well, why don't we just cut some of the communication? Okay, so why don't you just like go back to the way that it used to be, where you have a school and a school has a principal, all right, and the principal goes down to the district office like twice a year. So why don't we just cut some of that out? You'll be able to see which schools are good and which ones are bad real fast that way, rather than spreading the failures of the system all over the entire system, so you can't find out what the real fucking problem is. So just cut that out too, please.
But Patrick, the problem is that would be a reduction of accountability.
Oh, I know. Yeah, well, I guess, but it would also like actually. Well, I guess if you mean reductive in the terms of being patently apparent that you need to replace this principal, you know. So, which is the thing that I've noticed with the little bit of work that I've done with school. So, you know, this is a professor. He and I, we actually did one down there. All right, did survey work with all the staff and things like that, try to figure out kind of what was going on, and it was obvious that they had a really shitty principal. Everybody hated the dude. All right, so he's obviously not getting all his work done. Nothing like this. Surveys come back. We get ready to present the reports, and it's really straightforward, you know. But of course, we look at the interview that he had done with him, and he thinks everything's great. Everything's just fine in the school. So I love the school. I just can't be more proud of anything. Meanwhile, building's on fucking fire.
Yeah.
You know? And so, like, if he actually didn't have an entire system that was protecting individuals like that, it'd be pretty fucking badly apparent. It's like, look at this guy right here. You know, this fucking school is terrible. So, you know, get rid of that guy. So, you know, but it doesn't work that way.
Well, again, you're talking about like it's the measurables are all over the place. Nobody knows exactly what metrics are meaningful. I mean, you know, we always like to bring this back to sports because we're stupid and it's a concept that we can understand, right?
Yeah.
But there is something to be said about, well, it's been 5 years. You haven't had a 500 season. You had it once, so that could have been the last coach's, you know, influence. But in 5 years, you haven't turned this team around.
Right. Bottom of the division.
Right. We cut you some slack for the first 3 because I know you got to get your own personnel in here.
Yep.
But things aren't going right. So really, that's the struggle of being able to say, all right, well, so then what are our metrics? What are our actual metrics? And on top of that, can we even make a commensurate measurement to be able to say, all right, well, if X is below this person should probably go? I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know because, again, it's like, what are the students coming in? What are they coming out? Have the demographics of the district changed?
Yeah, that happens a lot. I mean, we've watched that happen over D11 for the last 10, 15 years.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, they've closed like, what, 7, 8 schools? Something like that.
Which is weird because
including Wasson. They closed Wasson, what, like 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, that's losing a whole high school out of your system. That's a big deal. That represents like 9 elementary schools. So
I understand.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
But I mean, it's still Wasson, so it's like, you know, nobody would have faulted like Germany if they changed their name to something else after World War II.
Yeah.
So,
Not Deutschland. Nicht Deutschland.
Right. You know, if they're just like, you know, it's like the Washington Redskins. It's just like,
oh yeah,
European country.
European country. Central European nation.
Yeah, kind of. So, I mean, I'm not going to exactly, like, I know that they made many, many efforts to try to repair Wasson. Let me say it that way.
Well, they turned it into like a
magnet school.
Well, it's like a night school for working adults now. They do GED shit and stuff like that out of there, things like that. If I'm not mistaken, it still exists. They didn't bulldoze it like we did to Germany.
Is that is why our internet is so fast? Yeah.
That's all right. We have trains everywhere.
No kidding, huh?
Yeah.
How'd you do that?
That's all right. Yeah. Wow. This real estate must have been real expensive at the time.
People just don't know. And so this is a side tangent.
Oh man, they're kind of learning, man.
Bullshit. When they talk about world history, well, why don't you guys have, you know, bullet trains from Washington to San Francisco?
It's because nobody leveled our country in World War II.
Right.
Yeah.
Ain't gonna happen.
Right, and we don't have an authoritarian government that can rip its way through an entire fucking province. Just
Yeah, exactly.
locating every farmer in the way so we can build a highway that nobody uses.
Shit, like farmers, they come to my house and it's like you with the look on your face out. You know? Like, come on, man. I know, I get a little bit tired of hearing that shit too. But yeah, man, that's like, and what's weird is, with all of the bitching that we've done, the side effect is actually that kids are still smarter than they've ever been. I'm just gonna put it that way.
Oh, fuck, man. My daughter's like, she's doing math that I wasn't doing for at least 2 years. So at this point in time, she's all the way up to the point in time where they're doing, what is it she was showing me the other day? They're doing exponentials. So we never touched exponentials in elementary school. And she's getting kicked out this year. They only do 5 years there now, man. So, yeah, so because they did middle school model,
So 6, 7, 8, and then
6, 7, 8, and all 4, 9, 10, 11, 12 in high school.
Okay.
Which that actually is a good thing. So
no, I think that's great.
yeah, I've seen data on that one. That one actually works out pretty good. So because you still get kind of like okay results your 6th grade year. So because 7th grade just universally sucks for everybody. 8th grade is literally called the killing fields of education. So based upon the Khmer Rouge, yeah. So there's a whole book out there about that, about like what the fuck happens to kids in 8th grade. And the answer is nobody knows, but half of them get murdered. So at least educationally for a year or two. So, and then they either recover, they go to trade school, or they go to jail.
It's bizarre.
Yeah.
I'll say that I had a better time actually I had a good time in 8th grade, but 7th grade was really rough.
7th grade was rough on me. It was really rough. 8th grade was rough on me. I got my shit together, I'd say 9th grade. High school for me was fine because 10th grade, I started working. I worked all the way.
Well, that was your
school.
therapy.
That was my therapy.
That was your work release. That was
work just always felt more real than school. So, well, it felt totally more like legit. I don't know why.
What do you mean you don't know why?
Well, it was a bullshit job, but
No, but X amount of time in meant money in your pocket.
Oh, yeah, no, that was actually pretty patently apparent. So, yeah. It was like, oh, this money thing ain't that hard, Then we did stupid things later,
What?
Speaking of which, raviolis aren't going nowhere, man. What's the deal?
Well, I mean, they actually showed some incredible progress. They went up. It's leveling back out.
Yeah.
But they were cooking there for a bit.
The noodles were in the pot. They were boiling.
Yeah, but you know how it goes. Some dickhead's like, we need to serve these al dente. It's like, what does that mean? Raw? It's like, what, you got a problem with Chef Boyardee? You don't like this mushy stuff?
Yeah.
No,
It's not a bad time to buy. If I had some cash, I'd probably start buying a little bit more. Because if they wrap up that thing in the Ukraine next few weeks, it'll go bananas again. I don't know if that's going to happen though, man.
Well, okay, so
what's you got the inside story?
Well, the inside story is that basically the word on the street is Russian leadership is immensely frustrated. There's
So Putin.
Well, but he's not the one that has to enact all of this stuff. He can say, do this.
Oh, okay.
Right? But my understanding is that the intermediaries, right, they're frustrated with him.
The military guys or
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They're frustrated with him. He's frustrated with them. They've totally lost track of the plot at this point. They've withdrawn from the major attacks on Kiev and the bigger cities, and they're regrouping. The question is if they're going to rearm, reload, and make one last push, and if so, will that be effective? Doesn't look like it, because the only other thing is it looks like they've taken some of that and diverted it back to the
Yeah, I
Eastern
thought it had
Front.
some of that Eastern stuff almost pinched off now, man. So
A little bit, but it's the hot news right now is they're expected to negotiate within a week.
Yeah, well, I thought negotiations were going with Turkey this entire time, but you see, okay, so like the mainstream media, and I'm not even gonna fucking call it that anymore because so few people actually watch it.
What would be the appropriate moniker for that?
Legacy media? Yeah, I don't even know if well, maybe because that would still
legacy
include
media is
like
the newspapers,
newspapers. So it's just like the irrelevant media, you know. I don't even know. I'm not going to use the lamestream media thing because that's dumb.
No, we're kind of glomming onto something that
yeah, that's a Sarah Palinism.
yeah, that's
but I've seen them beating the war drum for the last like 4 or 5 days, and nobody's paying attention, and they're getting frustrated with it because really, when it comes down to it, nobody in the administration is turning around saying, "Oh, well, we're thinking about, you know, doing this, this, and this," and the administration's basically like, "Nah, we got the clamps put on them. We'll let this run its course at this point in time," you know. And so like asking questions about no-fly zones gets nobody anywhere anymore. And, you know, the whole thing is like, even Zelensky's kind of jumped the shark a little bit because he just bangs that drum every chance that he gets.
Yeah.
And so, like, I mean, despite Will Smith's like antics, I was glad that we didn't see him at the Oscars. And I know that all happened.
But he popped up at the Grammys.
Yeah.
So,
he did?
Yeah, he popped up at the Grammys.
Yeah. So he'll take his second place prize there. But still, I mean, it's all like, I mean, and so these guys that I watch, these old school journalists who actually have really interesting takes on things. This one guy kind of like called him out on this one. He was like, so Zelensky's got a pattern. He'll find something in your past that you know, like he can compare to like what's going on. And so, of course, like this is like, you know, a Pearl Harbor for the Americans. Right. It's yeah, it's like Fort Sumter. You know?
I know.
You know, and all this stuff. And so he'll bang that drum every single time. You know, it's just like the Nazis invading, you know, getting ready to cross the channel to the Brits, you know, and things like that. So he's always got something that's kind of, it's Francis Verdun, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's always got something like that in his pocket. And so, like, I don't know. I know that they're slipping him basically billions of dollars worth of arms. So even some of the former Soviet bloc, you know, are selling off all their old Soviet junk to him now. So, and saying, fine. If you're gonna blow him up, might as well take him. You know, get a couple bucks for him while we still can.
Oh yeah, no, it's like the border from New Jersey to Pennsylvania, right? It's like
right.
The simple thing is like, look, man, I know that you can't buy fireworks here,
right?
But if you go across the border in Pennsylvania, you can.
Yeah.
Look, I can't say, right, that it's okay for you to shoot them off in New Jersey, but I'm going to stop you.
Yeah, I ain't going to stop you.
I'm just going to tell you where they sell them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and so I think everybody's kind of settled into that, and so we'll see what kind of fight they fight, but, you know, it's obviously that there are certain people within the media, particularly on the left, who are like upset that they're actually not getting paid attention to by the administration at all. So,
dude, look, there's a couple of things here where I'm not going to invoke Hitler because I know he wrote it in his book, and it's essentially, you know, about the, you know, if you tell the lie often enough, you know,
yeah,
which may or may not be attributed to somebody else before him. I don't remember. But
yeah, it's
probably
it's not direct.
But if you say it last and you write it in your book, sometimes it's attributed to you. But
I thought that was Lenin who said that first. I think it was.
Look, it could have been somebody before him.
It might have been. Yeah, I know it was in Mein Kampf though.
Yeah, that's where I know it from. But there's no way I can sit there and say like, well, I think Aristotle wrote something pretty similar to that too.
Yeah.
Right. But the bottom line of this, we've been watching this kind of crap happen in the media for the past couple of weeks, where they keep trying to, both sides try to turn this thing in a certain way, and like it's not just Ukraine, it's like Florida, right? The whole thing where it's, what does the bill say?
Oh yeah,
the bill say you can't teach sex ed stuff at all between the ages of 4 and 7.
Yeah.
Then it gets turned into, don't say gay.
Yeah.
It's like, but that's not what it's about. That's never. Dude,
I've seen so many people call them out on that one now. So that, like, you know, it's not like they're trying to get away with. It's like them literally trying to steal your car from your driveway while you're watching it. You know,
oh yeah,
nobody buys it. Nobody buys it, man. You know, and so I mean, like, even the first time I heard that, I was like, all right, that's a little sus, but let me go check it out. And so as soon as it showed up on my newsfeed, like within the first paragraph, it was DeSantis explaining. It's like, show me where it says that, and nobody can because, of course, it's not in there. kind of thing. And so like they're just agitating over something because like really. So I'm a little bit more on, I guess, independent media now, and so like these guys, when they start saying things, and they use it as kind of like poking sticks back at the old school media. There, I guess I'm just seeing more of it now because it's becoming more common narrative, So and whatever they're trying to spin, the whole no-fly zone thing was the big one. Where everybody's like, oh yeah, do you guys understand that you're asking for World War III? And a lot of people didn't understand that. But, there are plenty of people who are on watch who are like, actually, yeah, that's exactly what that means. It's like, if that's what you want, then say that's what you want,
right.
More so than anything else. And so, like the thing about the media that I'm starting to notice more so, and this is kind of going true on Twitter too, but we'll see. We talked about that a little bit last time.
We did.
But it's just like, I'm not as worried about it anymore because basically they are being watched so closely by so many other people who used to pay attention to them, and now like even the administration just stiff arming that media, that wing of the media. Even on the Sunday shows, they won't even go on the fucking Sunday shows anymore. So
this is okay. So what I'm starting to see about this, okay, is there's all about this when it comes to business, right? Mm-hmm. When it comes to advertising. What happened to advertising over time? When it came to traditional advertising, say for television.
Oh, I don't know the history. I don't know where you're going with that, but
well, what were there used to be a few like rock solid rules that you would have where you're like it's like a price proposition or the
4 P's of marketing. Yeah,
hit me. Well, okay,
price, promotion. So promotion is just basically pure advertising. Okay, so Mr. T cereal, you don't eat it because it's healthy, you eat it because it's got Mr. T on it. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So price point is the cereal that's on the bottom of the shelf because you get a whole sack of it for $1, right?
Right.
So the next one is the product itself. Okay, so sometimes you advertise based upon the quality of the product or something about the product that's unique. And so rather than like say like Mr. T cereal, at that point in time, you're talking like grape nuts are actually fucking good for you or something, right? Okay, and then the last one is just place where you're actually going to sell it. So if we sell it all in the grocery store, who's on the end cap? All right.
Right.
So that one's important because you walk by it first. And so there you go. There's your 4 P's of marketing.
Okay. Now my understanding is those principles used to also apply to like television marketing, right?
Oh, they still do.
Well, they do and they don't because the excessive. Well, because how do you do that with Netflix? How do you do that?
Netflix is a purely place-driven thing. They get to your house.
Saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is a lot of what people used to traditionally think about commercials and stuff has fallen apart, right? Which is why a lot of commercials.
Well, what's the purpose of commercials? The purpose of a commercial is to actually derive revenue for the provider, the content provider, right? So if I'm Netflix and I charge a subscription, fuck commercials. I don't need to deal with that shit.
Well, this is what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that the actual advertising has changed considerably, right? And this is where I'm kind of, and one of the reasons they did that, this is why they were talking about the impacts of like DVR and streaming and all this other stuff, is that they've mentioned that people have essentially started becoming immune to television advertising. They know it's there.
There's a very important caveat on that.
Go ahead.
The caveat on that one is the people who are not immune to television advertising are in their 70s and 80s.
Absolutely.
Which is absolutely what both of those networks, that's their primary demographic.
That's what I'm
talking about. As soon as those people are gonzo, their business model literally has a 15-year death stamp on it. So,
this a big black Boris and Natasha bomb, you can see exactly how quick the fuse is going, right? But what I'm saying here is that's kind of that legacy media or that cable media, however you want to call it, okay, people are tuning it out.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Well, except for those two, that small cohort.
Exactly.
People who are old. And it's split into two camps, man. Each one of them has their own networks that they go to.
Well, very much.
Okay. Now, the thing that's funny about that one is you can take a look at, like, And I saw something on this not too long ago. So CNN Plus bombed fucking hard. So
Yeah.
like way hard. All right. So they did a little bit of post-market analysis on this. You know why it bombed so hard?
That I don't know.
People who are 70 and 80 fucking hate subscription services. They'd rather watch the commercials.
Okay. Got it. Makes.
It's like, wait, I don't want to sign up for another app.
Can I use my same password?
Yeah, can I use my same password? Why can't I just get this on Comcast? You know? So they'd rather put up with the commercials, man. And so, yeah, they're like, oh, why am I going to sign up for something I get for free already when they don't even consider commercials as being like really this kind of like, you know, imposition. Okay.
It's not an imposition. It's actually an opportunity, right?
Well, sure. And it's like most pure sense, but yeah, it's also like, I mean, there's like probably very few industries in the United States that you can take a look at and really like clearly see where they're going. All right. And so CNN and MSNBC and Fox News, all these guys have to figure something else out over the next 15 years because they won't be a thing in 20. So,
no, I understand.
This is like fucking telegraphs, man. So,
Oh, yeah,
you know.
yeah. No, I totally understand that. No, but to them, and think about it this way, okay? Because you could spin advertising as something noble,
Oh, yeah.
okay? And I could say,
I
like,
personally don't have any problem with advertising. So
a lot of people do.
I get that.
Look, I don't care. But,
yeah, I'm fairly inoculated to it. So
well, exactly.
Yeah.
You've learned to tune it out.
Sure.
Right? And they say that a lot of advertising is completely ineffective because people just immediately, my show has ended or my show is paused. This gap in between is not for me. I'm going to get on my phone anyway.
yeah, I'm gonna go find something else too.
Right? So that's the same thing that's happening to that media. Right?
Yeah.
And this is the weird thing is right now they're sort of taking a gamble. Okay. And is my gamble to either move closer to center and say, exactly.
They're not gonna do that.
Exactly. So
That's
my
a hard
gamble
no.
is double, triple.
Triple down. Yeah, no, that's a hard no. So, you know, because their only hope to actually gather people from younger audiences is to go extreme enough to actually pull them off Facebook. So it's going to get worse.
Why would you do that?
Because, wow, it's probably the only place you're going to make money anymore. Now, there's an argument to be made that, yeah, okay, so you could go the Walter Cronkite route and just tone it all the way fucking back down to, you know, button-down shirt and, you know,
Glass full of class.
Glass
Yes.
full of class. You can do that, all right, but the thing about that is, it's like you completely, like, maybe not so much. Well, I don't think Fox News could do that. Fox News might be able to do that, but then they'd lose all their guys to OAN like that. Okay.
Oh yeah.
If CNN or MSNBC try to do it, they basically just cede their entire current audience over to the other one. Okay, and so you'd have to basically go out there and make something out of whole cloth. All right, if you're to do that, and these being legacy media, kind of like they've been around for a while, they got executives, they got people who've got, you know, like 401k plans and pensions that are tied up. They're not going to take a risk like that, and so they'll just triple down, hope like, you know, that something else comes along or they maintain relevance because of World War III or something.
What you're hoping for at that point is you're not looking for your innovation. You're looking for somebody else to flame out. You're looking for
So like literally, I mean, but it's gotten to the point in time where, I mean, they're almost like. So I watched this guy who plays Hitman 3. Did you ever play that, or Hitman 2?
Well, I've played some of the games, but I don't know which one in particular.
Well, he's got this really special animation where you actually drown someone in the toilet.
Oh.
And they got a minute where they're kind of slapping your hands. Yeah, that's what's going on here, man. You know? Yeah, but you know where this one's going.
Of course,
the
the metaphor I always prefer is a duck always looks calm on the top of the water, but you can't see his little legs flapping around.
Right. Yeah. Going max speed, man. Full head flank.
Yeah.
All right, man. We're at $140.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no worries.
Oh, and there goes our audience. So They're good.
Guys, shut up.
Shut up. Yeah. All right. We will. All right. Any last thoughts, Jeffrey?
No, we got them all out.
All right. I think we rung them all out tonight. So
Yeah.
All right. I'm Jeff. I'm Pat. You're Jeff.
I'm Pat.
You're Jeff.
I'm Patrick.
I'm hitting the button, man.
Okay.
I'm gonna pull the ripcord on this one.
Okay.